In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how easy and how much fun it is to glide on my Zooter scooter. If you are not familiar with the scooter, I have a bunch of videos on it. I'm going to put a link below. Also, if you are interested in getting one, I recommend that you get the one with the magnesium deck. It's not much more than the rest of them, a little over $300, but the magnesium deck is the lowest and therefore most comfortable deck that you can get. At the time, mine was purchased in 2005, and here this is all downhill. I'm not kicking at all. It's not even a steep downhill at this point. It's probably something like a 3 or 4 degree slope. And so if you are getting one, get the magnesium deck because that's the most comfortable one. I'm putting a link below, and I also highly recommend getting a set of Ergon grips, which I believe is an option when you order them. I'm still gliding at this point, but this is an uphill, so it comes to a stop. And this is the end of this particular downhill. I did some kicking on the rest, and sometimes I just walk it if I have to go on a steep uphill. Here is the greenway on the Mid-Hudson Bridge, and I am once again not kicking. This is a very, very slight slope, something like a 1 or 2% downhill, or 1 or 2 degree downhill. And so initially I'm not moving fast, but I am not kicking either. This is a walkway that has, or a greenway that has a speed limit of 10 miles an hour, which I'm not doing. I might be doing 4 or 5. In here it starts to slope a little bit more, and I start hitting the brake. Throughout this whole segment, I am hitting the brake, which is the rear brake. I removed the front brake from mine. It just doesn't do much for me. And not to mention that even if you had a very grippy front, you can easily fall on your face riding something with such a short wheelbase. And I also don't want trouble with the kids and the dogs and strollers, so I take it easy in this segment. But this is all a single glide. I'm not kicking anything. I'm hitting the brake to move slower than I could. Without braking, I assume I could do maybe 15 miles an hour. It would be crazy fast for this bridge. I do make plenty of noise as I hit the cracks, which alerts the pedestrians, and ultimately it's a good thing. It's not a comfortable thing to hit those gaps, and I would prefer to have just a very smooth road, but this is not the place, unfortunately. But still, it's a single glide. Even at this point, I'm not kicking at all. So having an electric bike or scooter obviously has its advantages, but having something very, very light with very low rolling resistance is also really cool. I use the Zooter almost every day because it's easier to carry. I don't even fold it, and I attached some canvas bags I have. In fact, I'm going to put the link to those as well. You should check out the 100% cotton canvas bags that Amazon has. They last a long time, are very light. They can be rolled up into a tiny format, and you can carry many of them. They weigh practically nothing. Still the same glide, not kicking, and I am reaching the flat part. This is now flat, but I continue to glide anyway because of the momentum I have. This is the Hudson Trail Greenway. If you're interested, I think it goes from New York City. I think it even passed Albany. I'm really not sure how far it goes. It might go to the Great Lakes. And this is the end of this segment where I come to a stop and end up having to do a little bit of a kicking. This is a slope a little bit farther down, and I'm hitting the brakes like crazy because this is steep and I don't want to bump into moving traffic. Here I have to kick a little bit. I am kicking here because this is a slight uphill, but then it becomes a downhill again. So I'm not kicking here at all. But they have construction going on. They opened the roadbed, putting down some pipes. So there is all this dirt and sharps, and I'm hitting the brake because I don't want to pick up too much speed in an area like this. And this is the worst part. But I'm still just gliding. I'm not making any effort other than standing on the brake. I hope when they are done, this place is gonna be smooth as mirror and newly resurfaced. And here's a sharp turn, so I have to slow down. I lose a lot of momentum, but I'm still gliding. This is still just effortless gliding. And here it becomes uphill and I have to push a bit. So at this point I start pushing it up, but just a few yards, and then it becomes a downhill again. And here I am gliding again. And here comes a steep uphill, so I usually walk from this point on. Here is another completely different area farther down. Maybe a 4 or 5 degree slope. And at any time they can swing the car door in your face, so it's good to keep your distance from those cars. Luckily I have a green light, so I can go straight into the intersection. This is all gliding, I'm not pushing at all. This is all gliding, maybe a 2% slope. Bad road surface. So I'm slowing down, and at this point it's flat, and becomes an uphill. So I just let the scooter slow down. And here's another downhill. I would say maybe 3 degrees. Not a big deal, but I just move on it effortlessly. And I almost always ride against the traffic, so I could see if anybody shows up. And if they do, I either move into the gutter, jump onto the sidewalk, or stop. Here it becomes maybe a 1% slope, but I'm still gliding. And this is flat. Losing momentum. And here I have to start kicking, so I kick myself through the intersection, and then it's all flat. The rest of it is flat, but I kick myself up to a speed, and this is gliding again. This is not a slope. This is flat, and look how far I go without effort. So there is something to be said about having a battery, but having this kind of gliding ability is also a possible source of power. Sort of like having power without the power. I don't know how else to put it, because I'm still gliding at this point and I'm slowing down. I come to a stop almost. Here I have to kick again, so this is, I'm kicking, and then let it glide again. Just notice how far you can glide on this thing. This is what the Brompton Titanium is trying to replicate. But at what price? Once again, I'm coming to a stop. And this is the end of the trip. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.
I'll be back.